Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited today because I have somebody really special that's going to be part of the program. Let me welcome you and introduce myself. I am Lawana Parker, the executive director and host of Courage to Live Your Dream podcast and television show. And we are part of the Raven International Media Network. This show is about helping you. We are here to support you on your destination to your dream. We know how lonely it can be when you undertake a new challenge and the negative self talk that begins. Our guests are people who have gone on the same journey you are taking and will offer advice, suggestions, tips to help support you and keep you motivated. Well, it's time to start off our new program with the year 2020, which I am excited about despite all that's going on. And I want to tell you about this person that's going to be a guest on our show today. He really has a long resume here of things that he has done. So I'm not going to go through all of it because I want to leave something for him to talk about as well. So, Matt Malouf, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, Malouf.
Thank you. I was concerned about that.
No worries.
Lou is a part time investor and author with a professional degree in engineering at USC. His niche is traffic management, real estate investing, and writing. He is the father of five beautiful children. Their ages are from 3 to 27, and he has his spouse who is his loving wife. Matt is a spirited, outgoing, and fun loving person who is tremendously passionate about traffic management and technical competency. He is committed to his projects of software development to alleviate highway congestion and increase safety on the freeways. Professionally, Matt has worked as an engineer for over 2 decades. I'm sorry. However, his zeal for problem solving led him to explore the real estate industry. There are many parallels to project management and infrastructure development to real estate investing. So I am going to stop there because I could do a real book on you. It is so great to have you on here. Please welcome our guest, Matt Malouf, as he shares
Sure.
with us his story and gives us some tips and advice on what we can do. And in this market today, with everything that's going on, we really need some positive information and some feedback that's going to help lift our spirits, especially for all of those who are at home. I am at home myself, and in case you're wondering, am I really at the beach, sitting out there with that beautiful spring day and palm tree and the water flowing? No, I'm not. But I would love to be. Anyway, welcome, Matt Malou. Matt, tell us a little
Thank
bit
you. Thank
about
you,
yourself
Luana. Thanks
and
for having
how
me.
you got started.
Let's see. Well, I have been working on my engineering for quite a few years, as you'd mentioned. But I wanted to get into real estate. I wanted to own property as early as I could coming out of college. So I was kind of looking around at some different real estate and properties in Southern California here, and just wanted to become a homeowner and use that to kind of start my base or my base of operations, shall we say, build some equity, and then kind of use the equity to turn into other properties and sort of steamroll it into a buying houses scenario. As I'd read about that in a couple of books, kind of researching real estate and such, and that's what I wanted to do, and kind of use that to secure my retirement and have a couple of different streams of income in retirement. I still don't think that Social Security will be there when I retire. If it is, great. If not, I want to have a fallback and a plan B, so to speak. In engineering, we call it a factor of safety. So, if you're designing something to carry, a 1-ton load, if you want a factor of safety of 1, so you design it for 2 tons, so the 1 ton will be easy. So we try and design everything to be as safe as possible. So I try and take that sort of thinking and methodology into my retirement and lifestyle design and such. And real estate is easier for me to understand because my degree is in civil engineering. So building, bridges, roads, water management facilities and such. Something that I can see is just easier for me to understand. So it's easy to transition into real estate and such.
Hmm. That's interesting. You mentioned about traffic congestion in your bio, and I was just curious, how does that work? How do you help alleviate some of the congestion out there? I'll get back to your real estate, but that kind of struck me. I wanted to know because traffic is crazy. I remember coming when I first came to Sacramento back in 1975. I could drive for about 2 or 3 minutes without seeing another car.
Yeah,
Not
and it,
so anymore.
well, it basically in an overly simplified nutshell, traffic management is more a supply and demand issue. So
Mhm.
you have your supply of your roads and freeways, bridges, whatever it might be. They could be 2 or 3 lanes, and each lane can carry a certain amount of cars over a given hour. So the more cars that are coming through in an hour, the slower it's going to be. So that's where your congestion will be. So your demand far outstrips your supply. So
Mm,
what will happen is if you have an accident, you have a collision, overturn big rig, you have a spill, something that adjusts the demand. So you close a lane or two, the supply. So you close a lane or two, the demand is still there. You're just going to get further and further back. So you have every agency, every company, everybody out there has different resources they can put to that, whether it's the changeable message signs you might see over the freeway, um, trucks that you can send out with other changeable messages. You can have smart infrastructure that can actually talk to the smart cars and such to alert people ahead of time. So what you're constantly trying to do is adjust the demand in a particular area as the supply restricts and comes back and forth. So it's basically just a constant balancing act and dance of that. So it's always a challenge. It's always fun trying to help companies, help agencies,
mobility.
help everybody around mitigate that. Because for me personally, I hate sitting in congestion. I just hate sitting in traffic and just sitting there and going, 2 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, trying to get
So
where
do
you're going to
I.
go. Take 2 hours to go 50 miles. And I just, fear, the way I think is I'm always looking for a better way to do this, whatever this is, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's travel, it's business setup, it's eating or going out looking for nice restaurants or something to eat at, the experiences in life, and retirement planning. So I was trying to figure out how to do it a little bit better. You don't need to take huge leaps and bounds, but if you can do a little bit here and there, it can actually result in much bigger results in the long run. So I'm always
Often
kind of
I'll think of you when
thinking
I'm
about
out
that.
there in the traffic. But anyway, getting back to real estate, in this market today, with what's going on with the COVID-19, um, do you think it's the market is going to go up? I mean, is this a good time for people to be buying houses, to think about investing in homes, or share some tips on real estate? Because I freely admit I have no knowledge in that area. So,
Okay. No problem. This is what kind of a piece of advice I like to give people in terms, just in general, as far as let's set a baseline and see where you're at right now, with your life and yourself. Let's sit down and take a self-assessment with yourself, your family situation, the time you might have to be able to put into this. If you have money, if you don't have money, if you have some cash flow issues, all those things sort of depend on your particular situation. Uh, as of right now, early 2020, with the whole COVID thing kind of in its beginning, my personal opinion from what I've seen in the research that I've done on the whole situation, I'm sort of expecting the whole process to take 12 to 18 months.
mhm.
We might have a couple of shutdowns. I think we're kind of in the beginning stage or stage and a half of this whole experience, shall we say.
Mm,
I personally think real estate has, in general, has more areas to fall. Um, it wouldn't surprise me to see a 40 to 50% drop over the
wow.
next 8 to 14 months. That's my personal opinion, based on my research and what I've seen. I've noticed properties are staying on the market a little bit longer. Some of the bankers and lenders that I talk to that I'm friends with, being in the real estate industry, I mentioned, there's more and more properties are kind of falling out of escrow. I've seen that they're doing, lenders are doing verification of employment. They do that kind of at the beginning part of escrow, where they actually call your HR department or employers, verify, how much you're making every month and annually, how much overtime you get, how long you've been there, what your position is, and et cetera, et cetera. They're also doing that now the day or two before they actually close escrow and fund the loan, because a lot of people have been getting laid off and such. So the last thing the bank wants to do is approve a $200,000 or $300,000 loan for somebody to get a house that they had just lost their job, and now they have to go through the whole foreclosure process. So they're going through and doing another verification of employment right at the end. And if it's not there, which now it's increasing more recently, that their employment is not there, so they just either cancel the loan or decline it literally the last day, day 42, 43, 44 of a 45-day escrow. So you see a lot more properties that are falling off and coming back onto the market, or somebody, they have no recourse really at that point. If they've lost their job while they're in escrow, it's starting to happen more and more, and such. So a lot of the affordable mid-range prices on the properties are kind of stagnating a little bit now. Real estate is kind of a lagging indicator on things, so it takes some time for these escrows to start falling out more and more. One resource I like to see I like to look at on these for investing and foreclosure investing, I've done a lot of foreclosure investing, is on auction.com. And you see that increasingly the trend lately, I like to look at more trends, not specific numbers, that the trend has been more for the initial bid reserves are not being met as much. So, the bank will use auction.com to put all their properties up, and they say, okay, we want a minimum price. Let's say it's $100,000 and all, and the property might be worth 150, 170, whatever it might be, but people aren't even meeting that $100,000 reserve yet. So I think, I think there's a lot of institutional money out there. I think there's a lot of investors with, hordes of cash piles that are still waiting to buy up and such. We haven't seen them jump in the market yet. People who will buy bulks of properties and such.
I know your interest in this is great, and you even wrote a book, 22 Secrets.
22 Secrets to Success and Wealth Creation. So just kind of all the little tips and tricks that I've learned kind of throughout the years that, they don't teach you in school, and they don't help you with in school, that you kind of have to stumble, fumble, and bumble through on your own, either through experience or seminars and other educational means and such. There's a lot of wonderful podcasts out there on some of these and all. I tried to just condense what I've learned and kind of what I've done and some of the lumps that I've taken in the School of Hard Knocks to go through that and kind of create something that hopefully the younger generation and people can pick up, read in an hour and 20 minutes max, and kind of develop a wealth plan for themselves. Because wealth really is not, I don't believe, a number to say, oh, you have $1 million and you're wealthy. It's like, wealth is a little bit more of a total person, where you good spirits, good emotional state, good mental state, good financial state. You're happy and contributing member to your family and society and your community. And so that's really what wealth encompasses. So we try to help in all those aspects.
Okay. So I know you have 2 books, and if someone wanted to read those books, where would they find them?
You can just search for me on Amazon.com. Just type in Matt Malouf, MATTMALOUF, and I've got about 7 books up there on Kindle, audio, and paperback. Some on wealth creation, some on real estate, home selling, foreclosure investing, and I have a little series of Airbnb success stories, or short-term rental success stories. It's kind of like a Airbnb or a chicken soup for the soul, or the Airbnb soul. And all. There are a lot more, not as much of a how to do something on Airbnb or short-term rentals, and be successful. It's more of inspirational stories and some of the things that other authors and people out there have done to overcome challenges in the market, in their life, and whatever the case might be, to be successful in their short-term rental enterprise and such. And again, success is defined in a variety of ways. But uh,
That's true.
I think if you have a lot of money but your health is bad and you have poor relationships, it just it doesn't make for an enjoyable life. And, I'm kind of a hedonist in the sense that I like to enjoy my life. I like to eat for sure, and go out and see things and do things, and have a wealth of bank of memories. And I want to kind of try and share some of these memories and experiences, certainly with my kids, but with everyone in general as much as I can. So and that's what we're looking at for wealth and success and those definitions.
Oh, very good. I agree with you, though. Money isn't the end all to be all. Good to have it, but
It's nice, but
it's
I
not
think
involved.
epic skills,
Right.
really most important. Knowing how to solve problems, knowing how to think critically, knowing how to kind of just sit back and observe just the world around you. I mean, I do a lot of gardening, and my family, we do a lot of gardening, and we have kind of a permaculture food forest in the backyard that we've been working on, with our own hands, on our own time, everything, for the last 5 years. That it takes a lot of observation, a lot of testing, a lot of tweaking, a lot of adjusting, and learning, and record keeping, and stuff that actually moves over and applies a lot to business, to career management, to retirement and wealth creation and such as well. So I think having some of those skills, and I'm talking about things as self-defense, meditation, or yoga, Pilates, things to sort of help calm yourself down as well, and such, not just being able to just make, because if all the banks close tomorrow, what have you got? You've got yourself, your family, and your skills. So hopefully that will be enough to help survive you for however long a period that might be.
I have a friend who
This new normal
shared
that
with
we've
me.
got.
I have a friend who once shared with us if everything shut down, she would still survive because she'd go find her a tree, put a sign up there and say, "Meet me here at such and such a time, and I'll tell you what to do."
Yeah, yeah.
So that sounds like you a little. That doesn't matter what happened one way or the other, you've got to figure it out and you will survive. One of your books you mentioned was on wealth creation. We're
Mhm.
always interested in creating wealth. So tell us a little bit about, maybe you could offer us a tip, a little incentive or something to um, make us go out there and buy that book to find out how we can create wealth.
Okay. Be one of the tips is to be open-minded and to be teachable. That kind of flush out some of the misconceptions or preconceptions that you already have of making money, of running a business, doing taxes, organizing your paperwork, organizing your time, and such, where you just kind of put it out and be ready to absorb somebody else's knowledge and information on the topic, and then sit back and figure out how to apply that for you. And I have a whole little matrix in there on sort of how to help do that. And then to be positive. Let's see, what else do we have? To pay yourself first. I got that from The Richest Man in Babylon. Where, I have a certain percentage that I think everybody should save of their money. It's like you worked hard to make your money, whether it's investing, it's in teaching, it's in educating, it's in work, whatever it might be. But you bring in some money, you should save a certain percentage of that for just complete long term that you just don't touch for 20 years, literally 20 years. And that can go into any sort of other kind of investment vehicle that suits you. It could be cash, it could be bonds, stocks, life insurance of some kind, real estate, whatever the case might be. But to take some of that money, that hard-earned money that you've made, and just put it on the side before you even pay a bill. That's taking care of yourself and looking at yourself first. And then, I'm not a big fan of debt. Debt is just a form of of either slavery or just obligations to somebody else. And it's an external pressure, especially it can be on your business, that you owe to another institution. So to either get out of debt or to manage your debt as a business expense as small as possible, because a lot of small businesses right now and a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling because they have taken on too much debt. They have leverage. All you see is low interest rate, low interest rate, low interest rate everywhere you go. And it's, yeah, the interest rate might be low, but if your business takes a hit, you lose. Some people I know are losing 50 to 80% of their income, and how can they pay their debt and such? So to get out of debt or have a plan to manage it should you lose all of your income for a year. And we kind of go into continuity of operations with that. And I help people and entrepreneurs kind of set up a continuity of operations plan and things like that. But you want to be prepared and be prepared for the worst. And if it happens, you've got a plan to sort of deal with it. And if it doesn't, then it's how are you worse off by having some extra money on the side?
Well, I think that's important what you just said, pay yourself first. As someone who is new as starting a business, perhaps they have no knowledge whatsoever about it, but they have an idea and they want to get started, and they don't know what to do. You have any suggestions for that person?
Begin with the end in mind. So if you want to start a business, let's say it's selling bracelets on Etsy. Okay, how many bracelets do you want to sell per month? Is it 100 bracelets? Okay, so you start with 100 bracelets, and then you kind of work back from there as far as figuring out your niche, what kind of bracelets, how to price them, who your target market is, who your target audience is. Do some research, but put some money on the side or put some resources on the side that you can just completely lose and you can completely fail at, because that'll be your education and your sort of beta test. Like how with the whole coronavirus thing, they're talking about the vaccine and this stuff, and have to do trials and trial runs, and that's where you figure out in science and engineering, that's where you figure out your baseline, what works and what didn't work, and you have your control group and such. But as an entrepreneur, you got to set your baseline and create your baseline. So part of that is applying a little bit of money and time and resources on the side to kind of fail and figure it out, because everybody is going to have an opinion on how you should run your business in your life. And, if you take a good assessment of yourself first and where you're at emotionally, spiritually, financially, and all, you'll have a much better chance for success. To do what you're passionate about, to do what you enjoy, and to make the money that you're looking to make. Because it's not just about making the money. It's, being an entrepreneur, being a business person, whether it's full-time or side hustle, whatever it might be, it also kind of fulfills a little bit of your soul, something that's missing in your soul that you want to provide or help to your community and to society. So what is scratching that as well, as far as not just the money?
Is there
So
someone
I would say start with yourself
inspired you?
first.
Is there someone that in your life
Uh,
perhaps inspired you? If I could ask maybe who that person was and what was it about them that inspired you to step out there on your own and take a chance on going into business for yourself.
yeah, it was actually my grandfather, God rest his soul. He, when he was on his deathbed at the time, he said, there's, I look back, he had, a very good, rich, fulfilling life. I mean, if he had an autobiography, it would be a great read, and I think a bestseller, because he had done and accomplished so much, from buying, lots of gold and silver, in Mexico, and bringing it back to the U.S. in the cars, back in the 60s and 70s, and how you find these businessmen. He was one of the largest importers of lamb and exotic meats to the U.S. For a period of time, real estate, and I mean, he his health is what really forced him to retire. He didn't retire because he wanted to. He wanted to run his business and do his thing his way. And he's, I always said, when I look back at everything I've done and everything I've accomplished and everything, that the biggest regrets that I have are the things that I didn't do, that I said I wanted to do and just let it go for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you want to buy that house, or you want to rehab it and fix it, you want to have a side business and just do something you want to do, just stay busy and contribute back to society, just do it, figure it out, and do it. Everybody else will have their own opinions and everything of what you want to do, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, whatever. And you say, don't let people talk you out of that. That's what you want to do, just do it. You fall flat on your face, no big deal. It's just, it happens. So just fall flat on your face, get up, dust off, learn from it, and then figure out a way to pass on some of that knowledge. So a lot of the best business advice and decisions I got early on were from him and
Well, you
such. So
anticipated my question and by answering it before I got a chance to ask you. So thank you for that, because that is one of the big things. People who sometimes they think they're helping you by telling you what, you really shouldn't do that. It's not going to work out. Sometimes it's envy, sometimes it's bitterness, sometimes it really is someone who's concerned that you may be get disappointed and they don't want you to be hurt. So thank you for sharing that information about
yeah,
it.
and I
Extreme.
think people generally have good intentions towards that, and they don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you fall or be embarrassed or however. Sometimes they might fear that your embarrassment might reflect back over to them, and it's it's your life. You only get one of it. You should try and maximize it as much as you want. And that's what inspired me to do my first book, was because that was on my bucket list of things that I wanted to do in my life, was to become a published author. And so I just kind of stumbled my way through and kind of figured it out, and hired some editors and copy editors and marketers and self-publisher and such, just to sort of figure it out and do that. Was before Amazon was really kind of what it is today as far as the self-publishing and things and such. But it was something that I really wanted. I felt I had a desire, and this is from a guy that my lowest grade every semester, the thing that would keep me off the honor roll or keep me off the dean's list or whatever were my English grades. Math, science, generally history, generally it was pretty easy for me, not too tough. But English, no matter how hard I worked on those essays, everything, it was always, C, C plus, B, B minus, in that sort of range. And always kept me off of, the honor rolls, the major lists most of the time. And it would be the last little bit I would need to get there. So trust me, I'm a lifelong C plus, more or less. English student, you can do it, because at the end of the day, some of the writing, is better than others at times, but you have something to share. So that's a medium and a methodology you use to share it. So
the great thing about today is people want you to be authentic. So if you make a few errors, they feel better because they realize, well, he did it and he made mistakes, so why can't I? So no
trust me,
worries there. So listen, I know that you work with people sometimes, and I want to give you an opportunity to share with people as to what it is that you can do to help them and how they can contact you if they want to be one of those people who need your advice and feel that they can work with you after this interview. So tell us.
Just reach out to me on Facebook and Twitter. My handle is Matt Bestselling. My website is investwithmatt.com. Just mention you saw me on Luana's podcast here, and I'll give you a good 10-20% discount off a normal consultation. I love to work one-on-one with business entrepreneurs and clients to kind of sit down and figure out how to take a few minor steps to tweak what they're doing to achieve a lot more results. You know, I don't want to put you through a course and all that. Let's just sit down one on one for a good hour or two. We'll figure out what's going to work for you, what's not going to work for you, and get you kind of started in a good direction there. You know, of course, you know, I'd love for you to purchase any of my books on Amazon, and you know, whatever reviews you'd have to say, you know, love to hear back, and all, and just kind of engage with as many entrepreneurs as we can out there, and slowly make the world a better place.
Well, thank you, Matt. We will have the contact information posted so that in case you weren't able to write it down, you'll still be able to get that information and contact Matt. Matt, it has been great having you on the show today. I've enjoyed your insightful information, and we will have you come back at a future time. Hope that you found us interesting enough to want to come back. Uh, it's
Oh,
exciting
definitely.
to
Just
hear young people today doing things for themselves. So you've heard so many negatives. So when you get the positive, we need to emphasize that and walk away from the negative stuff. So thank you again for being on the show. I want to
awesome.
thank all of you for taking the time to listen in on our program today. We're really excited about having Matt on here, and we're excited that you thought enough of us to spend this time with us. So remember, we're on here every week. Just look for Courage to Live Your Dream. We're part of the Raven uh, International Media Network. And you can find us on Roku, Amazon Fire, and soon to be Apple TV, among some radio
Oh,
stations like iHeart, Spotify, just to name a couple of them, iTunes. So you can always find us, and we welcome you to come back anytime. My name is Lawana Parker, and I am the host of Courage to Live Your Dream. And we do have some upcoming events taking